Well, the betting line for this Georgia Auburn game is out, and it is a big one. The line opened at 15, and it's between 14 and a half and 13 and a half right now. So that is a pretty big number for playing on the road in the SEC. Georgia and Auburn, 3:30 kick on CBS. Another ranked fight between these two. I think Auburn's 18 or something. Georgia's number 2, and Auburn, given that much, that's a lot. I mean, that's just not something you see from Auburn very often. I could go back and look, but I didn't really focus on Auburn's situation coming into this game, more with Georgia's. I did want to review a couple of different things about yesterday that that are noteworthy, which is that in the last 10 seasons, since 2010, Georgia has allowed 99 yards or fewer 65 times, including yesterday or Arkansas game Saturday. And they are 60-5 overall in those games. So there have been some pretty strange upsets in there, like the Vanderbilt game in 2016, the South Carolina game in 2019. But you can come pretty close to taking to the bank that if you're allowing 99 yards or fewer rushing, that you are going to win the game. I would say if that happens Saturday, Auburn has virtually no chance to win the game if they have fewer than 100 yards. I just do not see it. So Auburn's going to be somewhere around a 13-point or more underdog at home, which is pretty abnormal. I'm going to look that up in a second here. But Georgia since 2010 has had that situation 67 times where they've been favored by at least 13 points. And they are 64-3 in those games. Again, 2 of the games I've already mentioned, which were the Carolina game at home in 19 and the Vanderbilt game, home game in 16. The other one that happened was, of course, the Texas game where the Horns were about a 2-touchdown dog and won the game straight up. So it can happen. Those are the parameters by which it can, which is very rare. Again, 64-3, almost better. They are better as a 13-point favorite than they are as 99 or fewer yards rushing. And in this scenario, you could get both. We'll see. Georgia, since 2010, is 9-3 against Auburn. And it's a little even, you can stretch it and make it the number nastier than that. They won in 9, 8, 7, and 6. So very lopsided towards Georgia in this game. This is Georgia's second highest this is the most lopsided towards Georgia, the second most in the history of this series that we have recorded. Okay, that's going back to the 90s, or early 90s. So Georgia is a historic favorite in this game. And they are winning these games where they're 13-point or more, anywhere from 13 to 15-point favorites. They're winning those games by an average score of 35-16. So if you're wondering if Georgia should win this game, what do you think? It's pretty clear that they should be a very significant favorite to win, just based on this data. Now if you watch Auburn play, it's not like the problem with Auburn is that they don't have an offense that is reliable consistently. And you want to blame Mike Bobo, okay, but I would say really what's going on here is they do not have great play from quarterback, and that really gives them an issue. As it would for anyone. And Bo Nix last night, you sit there and you watch him play, and he's just all over the place. Is he gutty? Does he have the ability to really make plays that are kind of unbelievable? Yeah. But I remember, last night, half the time I was sitting there screaming at the TV, what is he doing? Like, he's running around way too much. I feel like he's not comfortable in the pocket And we're so late in his career that I don't think is going to change. You saw a week ago, that Mike pulled him in the Georgia State game, and Auburn was about to lose that game. I mean, they earned a loss in that game. They stole that win. So congratulations to them, because that's not easy to do, is to win a game when you didn't play well. But that was not because of Bo Nix. But last night, quite clearly, I keep saying last night, you could be watching this on Monday, but Saturday night, Auburn won that game when they probably shouldn't have. So it's kind of a situation with Auburn. Are they a team that can gut things out and win when they're not supposed to? Yeah, I think so. Are they a team that can play with top 5 teams? Well, if Penn State's in your top 5, then yes. But I just don't think they hadn't seen anything like what they're about to see. I mean, I try not to kind of overdo it, but this has become a historic Georgia defense. And it's going to be hard for Auburn. It's going to be hard for Georgia too. I mean, playing at Auburn is not easy. But this Georgia team is, with the exception of turnovers that lead directly to touchdowns, it's going to be hard to score on Georgia. I mean, we've seen, I think Carson Beck had a pick 6. Stetson had a ball that led straight to Carolina points. They're just not giving up points. They're barely giving up yards. I know Mike Bobo, the offensive coordinator at Auburn, who's been in the league forever, was at Georgia forever, underappreciated for sure at Georgia, one of the best offensive coordinators in the country at that time. You can put your comments below. You're wrong. But Mike, he's going to try to screen you. So you better be ready for that. LSU definitely got a piece of that too. But I'm just looking here over time, and the only team that Auburn has been a dog to like they're about to is the Alabama game in 2015, where they lost they were a 15-point dog and they lost by 16. The Alabama game, the Georgia game in Athens, where they lost by 17. They were a 13-point dog. That was a boring game. And then the 2018 Alabama game, they were a 26-point dog and lost by a lot. I can't do the math. It looks like 31. And then the Bama game in 2020, this past year, where they lost 42-13, they were a 24-point dog. So we're not quite at that level, but these are significant numbers. And you do not want to be an 8-point dog when you're playing a football game. That's not a good sign. This isn't that. This could be double that. And some of this is, is JT playing or not? I was surprised that he did not play Saturday, because the lat injury is something that you can recover from relatively quick. It's a grade 1 according to Kirby, so that can be a week or 10 days. But it wasn't that I should rephrase what I said. I was surprised he didn't play. I was surprised he barely warmed up. I mean, he just didn't. He hardly warmed up. So if it's gets out that he's playing in that game, that number could tick up a little bit. But excuse me, all these days are very long days and nights when Georgia plays games. But Stetson has been steady, and if this Georgia defense is going to stay the way it is, Georgia may try to have the same formula against Auburn that they did against Arkansas, which is, hey, we're gonna run, and you're gonna have to stop us. We don't think you can stop us. We do not think you can score against us. We are willing to win this game 10-0. We're willing to win this game 17-0. We're willing to win this game 24-6. I mean, they just want to get out of there. But that just talks about offense and defense. When you take a look at Georgia's special teams, Auburn's going to have a really hard time with this game. I'm not an absolutist. I don't believe in there's no way that Auburn can win. I don't do that. They're going to have a really hard time winning this game because everything Georgia does is buttoned up. it's there's not a lot of holes to fall through. With Auburn, just watch the last 2 games. Bo Nix is out there either choosing to run for his life or having to run for his life against LSU. And neither of those is going to work against Georgia. We can't see any more left-handed passes from Auburn quarterbacks the rest of the year. Like that, there was amazing accomplishment. You can't do that. Like that's not going to work. So, and that's LSU doesn't have the guys on defense that Georgia does, and you couldn't always say that, but you can right now. And that's the problem. You're going to come into this thing about a 14-point dog, anywhere from 13 to 15. Georgia's 64-3 in those games as a favorite in that ballpark. When you just look at this, just looking at Auburn's situation as a double-digit dog in the last however many years. They lost to Florida State in the national championship game, double-digit dog. They lost to Alabama as a double-digit dog in 2015. Same story in 16. Same story at Georgia in 18. LSU survives to win in 2019, 23-20, but Auburn loses that game as a double-digit dog. Auburn, as a double-digit dog to Alabama last year, which everybody knew that game. There was just no shot of them winning, and they didn't. They got creamed. So I expect Georgia to win this game solidly. I expect them to do a lot of the things that they want to do, and the numbers are what they are, okay. But just watching Auburn these last couple of weeks, they're not going to be able to function like they did against these, LSU and Georgia State. They had some very impressive beginning to the season results, but if you even watched them play those games, the way they played was not ideal. Their best game so far this season was the loss to Penn State. That's the best they played. They fought, all of it, but they lost. And if they hadn't, this would be a different discussion. This would be a top 10 showdown. Georgia. I don't know how many top 10s Georgia's going to play, but Kentucky's next, and they're favored against LSU. They're going to come to Athens probably as the number 10 or 12 team in the country. And, so Georgia's got to get it done this week. We'll see how it goes. But these are not ideal numbers for Auburn. They are almost a 2-touchdown dog against the Dogs. Tell me what you think down below. We'll see you over on the website.